Hi, welcome to another edition of Science Corner. I'm Mr. McCabe from Pittman High School, and this is science. Today we're going to answer that age-old question. I mean, decades, millennia. We've answered this question probably since the beginning of time. How do we turn a pickle into a light bulb? I know it's been on your mind. Today we're going to solve that question, and you can go ahead and get that out of your brain. Pickles are amazing. Actually, I don't like pickles, but we're going to use it today. I get a slight sense of satisfaction on burning these guys up. Alright, before we can answer the question though, we got to kind of go back. So let's check out a few things we've learned from before. So we've learned that atoms, right? Atoms make up everything. Atoms are the smallest particle of thing that you can have. So we have a little nucleus, right? Let's say we have positive protons, and we have, let's use another color for the neutrons. And we have neutrons in here. Let's go ahead and add a couple more here, right? So we have protons and neutrons in the nucleus, right? And flying around the outside of the nucleus, to make this a simple sketch, flying around on the outside, we have things called the electrons, right? Now, to keep it simple, let's just say it's in an orbit. They're all crazy. Now, everything is made up of atoms, right? Protons, neutrons, and electrons. You probably remember this. But the important thing is that electrons can move around. So, when we're thinking of electricity, we have a wire of electrons that can move. Now, it's a little different. Here, when we have electricity, we have metal nucleuses, right? This whole entire thing here, it has an overall positive charge, right? So let's say this whole entire nucleus is here, right? So in a conductor, in a piece of wire, in a piece of metal, right, we have all these positive nuclei everywhere, right? And then we have these electrons that are all in between. Now normally, when things share electrons, they're kind of in place, and it makes solids, liquids, and gases, and all those things. But in metals have electrons that can actually travel wherever they want. So they're actually sharing these electrons in between each other. They call it a sea of electrons. These electrons can move that way, or they can move that way, or they can move backwards. They can move wherever they want because they're all being shared by each other. Okay? Now I can convince these electrons to go in a direction. Right? Let's say if I put a negative end, like a magnet over here, then negative magnet and negative electrons would repel, and the electrons would start to go away from it. Right? That's what we call electricity. Right? Electricity is basically electrons moving through stuff. Okay? So when we have electrons moving through stuff, then we have charges that are also moving. Now, when you think of our bodies, we have the same thing here. So here's me today. I got a really big head because I got a really big brain. So here's my brain, right? Let's draw a little brain here. Whoop, you know, all those little passageways all over my brain, right? So inside my brain is happy. The reason that my brain can message my body and tell it to do stuff, right? If I want to flex my arm and get big old muscles here, right? If I want to walk, if I want to do things, whatever I want to do, my brain has to send signals to my body to do that. And that's through electrical impulses. But we are not made of a bunch of metal wires. So how does this happen? Right? It'd be pretty inconvenient if our body was just a bunch of metal wires. So those electrical charges travel through our body in different ways to tell our body to do stuff, right? It's pretty interesting. It's kind of like a battery. A battery has two poles, right? It's called a cathode and an anode. We have a positive end and we have a negative end. And inside that battery is electrolytes, right? Electrolytes make up the fluid that's in there, right? Electrolytes, in this case, is an acid. We're going to call this acid. Okay? So in an acid, it has electrons or ions really that are able to move freely. So those ions that can move then give us a charge that can be moved around, and voltage that can move around. We can use them on our phones, we can use them in all kinds of stuff. So we have this little battery that can do things, right? This inside here is called an electrolyte solution. In a battery's case, it's acid. In our bodies, it is elements, right? Salts, potassium, and magnesium, and calcium, and what else is in our body? All kinds of things, right? All these electrolytes do specific things and help you accomplish tasks. So when you are in a football game, baseball game, soccer game, Bible game, wrestling match, right? You have, you're sweating, right? And all those electrolytes are leaving your body. Well, those electrolytes are helping your brain conduct electricity through the rest of your body. So when you get really, really tired and you lose a lot of sweat, you're also losing a lot of electrolytes. So us as coaches, we say, drink Gatorade or eat a banana or do something that's gonna help your ions be replaced. We want your brain to be able to talk to its body so that you can continue to function, right? If you get dehydrated, it's not that you would die from the lack of water, it's that your body can no longer communicate with the rest of its, your brain can't communicate with the rest of its body because there's no water there. There's no electrolytes. There's no place for the electricity to travel, okay? Unlike a wire, we use neurons and all kinds of different pathways that are gonna conduct that electricity. So, we have batteries that have acid in them. We have our bodies which have electrolytes. If we replace those electrolytes, our bodies can run better, right? In the case of Gatorade and all those things. So, let's go back to our question. Can we turn a pickle into a light bulb? Well, to answer that question, I'm going to need a special device called the Pickler. This is the Pickler, okay? It turns an ordinary pickle into, perhaps, a light bulb. You probably have an idea if it's gonna work, because if I made this device and I brought some pickles and I'm sitting at this table telling you about it, we're probably gonna have some success. But to understand how it works is even better. Now, how do you pickle a pickle? So, a pickle is a cucumber, if y'all didn't know, a cucumber which has been pickled, and guess what the ingredients are inside the pickles? Well, let me read them to you. It says, ingredients, cucumbers, check, water, check, distilled vinegar. Vinegar is also called acetic acid. Remember our battery talk? Right? The battery has acid in it to use as electrolytes. Salt, calcium chloride, sodium benzoate for preservative, flavors, all those things. So, cucumbers get pickled with vinegar, acid, and salts, electrolytes. So if we know that electrolytes can conduct electricity when dissolved in water, and we know that batteries use electrolytes or acid to conduct electricity, what do you think is going to happen with the pickle? Seems like the pickle might be in a pickle. Let's check it out. All right. This is the Pickler, right? You definitely want to make sure you're doing this safely, okay? Because this is some electricity that's running through, and if you ever touch it, I'm just kidding. It's not on. I wouldn't do this if it was on, people. And I have another switch right here, okay? So let's find out if a pickle can turn into a light bulb. So let's get to it. We have our pickle jar full of giant whole pickles. If you're a dill pickle lover, sorry what you're about to witness. I'm not a dill pickle lover, so I have some sort of satisfaction burning these guys up. So we have a whole bunch of electrolyte solution, right? Because these pickles have been pickled. These cucumbers have been pickled, right? Now, let's put this guy right on the pickler, okay? Each of these electricity rods, one is the common and one is the power, and so it's going to want to go from one end to the other and conduct electricity through the pickle if it can. Okay, pickle's not acting very nice. Gotta grab another pickle. You want to make sure these inside the jar aren't touching, or inside the pickle aren't touching, and that they're ready to go. So the moment you've all been waiting for, the age-old question, can you turn a pickle into a light bulb? Let's dim the lights and find out. 110 volts of electricity through a plastic pickle. Ladies and gentlemen, pickle the light bulb. Pretty amazing, right? Now, besides the fire alarms going off from pickle juice being burnt all up in the classroom here, I feel like we have done a service to the world. We've answered an age-old question, the burning question that's been in the bottom of your soul for the longest time. Can you turn a pickle into a light bulb? Well, ladies and gentlemen, yes, you can, because of science. I'm Mr. McCabe. Thanks for joining us today on the Science Corner, and we'll see you again soon.